Hey, everybody, welcome back to Local Living Podcast with Reid Casey Team Real Estate. We're happy to chat with you guys today about price reductions. Do they work? And if you should have a price reduction, like when should you start thinking about that?
So, Reid, we have a lot of clients that, we go into their house and we pull comps and we show them everything that's working over the market and we put the house on the market. And then we look at 30 days later. We've had a lot of showings. We've had a lot of interest and we're marketing that house, but we haven't had any offers. What do you do?
Yeah, so obviously we want to get it right going into the listing. And reality is it doesn't always happen. I mean, markets change, markets cool down, they speed up. The pricing houses is something that we're really, really, really great at, and yet we're not like wizards, right? So having a plan is super important. It depends on the market, and statistically speaking, the market is going to kind of tell you when that price reduction is. Generally speaking, Catherine, if we've had 14 showings and no offers, that is a fairly good indication that you've missed it. Now, if we're getting a ton of showings, so I'll give you a real life example. We just closed a property in Roswell that had about 28 showings over the first month. I mean, almost a showing a day.
Those were private showings, not including open houses.
Yeah, those were private showings, not including, I think we held a few open houses and we had average 8 people or so through the open house. So that's a lot of showings. I mean, it's a lot of people coming through. And when we step back at that many people that are attracted online to the house, actually taking the time out of their day, coming to see it, not placing an offer on it, that is a pricing issue, right? There could have been an issue, and we monitor feedback closely. Like everybody doesn't like this or that, like something about it that we can change. Generally speaking, we have that much interest. That's a pricing issue. When you have that much interest, Catherine, we typically see that the price it was slightly off. It wasn't like a major issue. And so we had to have a couple discussions with the seller. We discussed what a price reduction would look like. It really wasn't that much. I think we reduced like $15,000, $20,000, $25,000. It wasn't in the scheme of the price point of the house, which was a rather large price point. It wasn't much. And immediately after that, we got a contract and offer and went to closing. And at the closing table, we're all kind of sitting around the closing table, just having chit chat. The buyer mentioned they had seen the house online, like for the whole month.
Yeah, they were coming from out of state and they had been watching the house.
They'd been watching the house, but they didn't come to see it until they had that price reduction. And it was just something that my ear caught. We weren't even really talking about it. I'll give you another example too of just how price reductions can motivate buyers. This was a long time ago. This maybe in like 10 years ago. I was working with somebody called me. They wanted to sell their house in a neighborhood that I was familiar with. I said, hey, yeah, we're thinking about selling our house and we're really interested to buy this in this neighborhood. There's actually a house available in the neighborhood. Well, we think it's a little overpriced and, we'll just kind of keep our eye on it. And I kind of encouraged them. I was like, hey, look, if you like it, why don't we just go take a look at it? If you like it, you can make an offer on it or whatever. And they're like, no, we just come over and talk to us about our house. The day that I went over to their house to sit down and talk to them about selling and possibly looking for something, that house that they were looking at reduced in price. They said they wanted to go see it. They bought it and they've been there for, I think it's almost been 10 years.
Wow.
I was like, well, why wouldn't we just go see the house and make an offer on it? But sometimes just to motivate buyers, price reductions do really work. So, typically 14 showings, a 2-week period with no showings. And it's crickets 2 to 3 weeks, depending on the price point. That's sort of an indication that we're probably overpriced. We got to watch the market really closely because depending on the season that we're in, depending on what the market's been doing over the last month, 2 months, is going to help you determine these things. And your price point, if we're like at an ultra luxury price point, obviously our days on market may be longer. If we're selling a piece of land, they take a little longer. If it's a lower price point or a cookie cutter neighborhood, or is the neighborhood popular, how much inventories are in the neighborhood, all those factors. But I'd say generally speaking, if you're on the market for about 30 days, Catherine, and you've had a healthy number of showings, that's probably a slight price reduction.
Not to be devil's advocate, but let's talk about when sellers say, well, why do I need to reduce? Like, why was it overpriced in the first place?
Well, that's really between the agent and the seller, right? I mean, we do have some sellers where we'll give price range, or we kind of think the house is going to land here. This is sort of a worst case scenario, and really best case, we may end up here, and sellers may want to kind of start high sometimes. So I think that's really kind of a discussion that needs to be had with an agent and the seller. It's not a magic trick, right? I mean, the market does have to respond to the house. So yes, I mean, I think the best thing to do, Catherine, is have a plan. If it doesn't sell within the first couple of weeks, if we don't get showings or we're getting tons of showings, let's say set the right expectation if you're deciding to list a house a little bit higher. And go ahead and spell out a timeline. If by this time frame we don't have offers, guys, then our plan is to make a price correction at this amount.
So what do we tell our sellers when they say, "Well, what if I reduce my price? Am I just gonna get another lower offer?"
That's a legit concern, and it's something that we hear a lot. It's like, okay, we've been listed at this for a while, hasn't really worked. Our marketing is bringing people in, but we've not gotten offers. It's not worked. So when we recommend a price reduction, sometimes the feedback is, well, Reid, if we reduce it to that, I mean, what if somebody comes in and offers me just a price that I'm not going to be willing to sell it for? They offer me, again, just a lower price. They see that we're motivated now. We've told the world we're motivated, and now people think they can take advantage of us. That's kind of what the thought is. That typically doesn't happen. My response typically is, listen, we're not getting offers right now. The marketing is doing its job. We're getting people through the door. We're not getting offers. Getting an offer is better than not having an offer.
That's true.
Having somebody that's interested in a property to make an offer on it, to get the conversation going, see if we can meet at a win-win, is a better place to be than not getting an offer. So I'd rather have an offer, regardless if it's low, to be able to work with it. What typically happens, though, Catherine, is the market's going to respond to the right price. I mean, there are a lot of things we can do marketing to jazz up the house and get interest in it. If it's not priced right, we're going to have a hard time selling it. So if we do a reduction, it was the right thing to do. It was the right time in the market to do it. Generally speaking, we don't see somebody just coming in and gouging. Now, if we do get offers that are just lower than what the seller wants, it can be an indication that that's what the market was going to pay for in the first place. So, but we do want buyers to get encouraged to make offers on houses, obviously.
I hope this episode was helpful in learning, do price reductions actually work? Remember to subscribe on Local Living with the Reid Casey team. And we're on all podcast platforms. And if you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe button to stay up to date on all of the content we're putting out. See you next time.